I once stood before a closet full of clothes and still sighed. Nothing to wear. Every morning began with hesitation, trying again and again, only to finally put on something I didn't really like, didn't really feel comfortable in. And the whole day after that, my mood fell out of rhythm too. If you've ever felt this way, stay. Because today, I'll tell you about a method that completely changed my relationship with my wardrobe. One that helped me not only dress better, but live lighter. The Japanese have a very special approach. Instead of chasing quantity, they choose less but better. The capsule wardrobe is one example. With only about 30 carefully selected pieces, you can still mix and match into hundreds of different outfits for every occasion. But the most wonderful part isn't in the numbers. It lies in the deep change within. Less hesitation, less impulsive shopping, less of that feeling of I'm not enough, and more time, clarity, presence. In this video, we'll go step by step to build such a wardrobe. Neat, beautiful, refined in harmony with the lifestyle you desire. And perhaps, starting from this very closet, you'll rediscover the quiet peace within your own life. 1. Defining your personal style and purpose. That Monday morning felt just like any other Monday. I stood in front of my closet, eyes wide open, but mind completely blank. 37 minutes had passed. Not kidding, I counted, and I still hadn't decided what to wear. The white shirt looked a bit wrinkled. The black dress? Wore it yesterday. That beige jacket looked nice, but somehow it just felt wrong today. In the end, I picked a shirt I didn't even like that much, because there was no time left. And the whole morning I couldn't stop thinking, why do I have a closet full of clothes and still nothing to wear? Have you ever felt that way? If yes, stay with me. Because what I'm about to share will completely change how you look at your wardrobe. Before starting any kind of wardrobe revolution, the Japanese have a beautiful principle. Begin by understanding yourself. They call it Ikigai, the reason you wake up every morning. Applied to your wardrobe, Ikigai is how you define your lifestyle through the clothes you wear. The question isn't, is this trendy, but does this fit the life I'm living? Do you move around a lot or work at a desk? Do you prefer something soft and flowy, or structured and elegant? What makes you feel most like yourself when you wear it? I used to think style was something only for fashionistas, but no. It's simply having a wardrobe that lets you stop overthinking every morning. A study from Northwestern University found that we spend an average of 23 minutes a day just deciding what to wear. 23 minutes, every day. That adds up to over 5 full days a year, just feeling confused. So, instead of asking, what should I wear today? Try this. Sit down, close your eyes, and recall the last 5-7 outfits that made you feel most confident. Those pieces are your clearest clues to your personal style. No theory, no trend, just lived experience. The Japanese also have another philosophy called Wabi-Sabi, the beauty of imperfection. I love that. It reminds me that a minimalist wardrobe doesn't have to be fancy or seasonal. Just a few basic, quality, easy-to-match pieces, enough to make you feel at peace. I began setting a clear goal, 30 pieces for all 4 seasons. It sounds little, but you know what? With 30 carefully chosen items, you can create over 100 different outfits. And most importantly, your mind feels lighter, because truly, the more choices we have, the more exhausted we become. That's why Steve Jobs chose to wear the same outfit every day. Not because he lacked creativity, but because he wanted to save energy for what truly mattered. Of course, we don't have to go that extreme, but maybe a slightly simpler wardrobe could make life feel a whole lot lighter. What do you think? If you had to choose just one piece you can't live without each week, what would it be? Hold on to that answer. Because in the next part, we'll start decluttering. But this time, with a clear intention and a calmer mind than ever before. 2. Decluttering and organizing your current wardrobe. I used to postpone this step for a very long time, even though I already knew the style I wanted, had read every book on minimalism, and convinced myself hundreds of times that I'll do it this weekend. But when I finally began decluttering my closet, my heart raced like that first time I stood in front of the class and realized I'd forgotten my presentation. Not because it was hard, but because it touched so many emotions I didn't expect. The Japanese call this stage danshari, made up of 3 characters: refuse, dispose, and separate. It sounds intense, but Danshari isn't just about tidying your closet. It's a spiritual ritual, a way to say goodbye to past versions of yourself that no longer fit, to create space for a lighter, calmer present. I started with what seemed like a ridiculous action, taking every single piece of clothing out of the closet, every single one, including what was in the laundry basket, on the arm of the sofa, or hanging behind the bedroom door. At first, seeing that mountain of clothes piled on the bed made me panic a little, but that exact moment, when you face everything you own all at once, is when you begin to realize how much you've been accumulating without awareness. According to Marie Kondo, the actual number of items we own is usually 40 to 60% higher than what we think. And I can confirm that's true. I sat down, took a deep breath, and began sorting. Some pieces I wore every week, comfortable, easy, effortless. Some were beautiful, but rarely worn, only suitable for special occasions. Some I couldn't remember the last time I wore. And then there were those I bought hoping that one day they'll fit. Looking at them now, they felt more like unfinished promises than clothes. A pair of jeans that never fit, a floral dress that went out of style, a crisp shirt I once wore to look professional, but never truly felt like myself in. I applied the 30-second test a friend once shared. Hold each item, close your eyes, and imagine yourself wearing it. To work, out with friends, or just standing in front of the mirror. If the first feeling wasn't excitement or confidence, I set it aside. No debating, no guilt, just a gentle goodbye. The Japanese have a concept called mottainai, the sorrow of waste. But sometimes, holding on to things you don't use is the biggest waste of all, wasting space, energy, and mental clarity. So I chose to let those still good items continue their journey, maybe in someone else's hands, where they'd truly be used. I donated some to a charity center, gave a few to their friends, and sold others on secondhand sites. Strangely, I didn't feel regret. Instead, I felt lighter. I remember reading somewhere that the average woman only wears about 20% of the clothes she owns. The rest are just-in-case items, or impulse purchases made in emotional moments. The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. How many things had I bought out of boredom, to feel new, or just because of a sale, only to forget them after the first wear? In that moment, I decided, from now on, I'll choose more intentionally, not out of restriction, but out of respect for myself. As my closet began to empty, the space around me felt more open too. Not just the drawers becoming neat, but my mind finally had room to breathe. Danshari didn't just teach me to let go of objects. It helped me release old expectations, outdated ideas of what it means to have enough. And then, I stood before my half-empty closet and smiled. Not because I had finished, but because I knew. From now on, everything I keep has a clear reason to stay. The next question was, if I could only choose 30 pieces for a capsule wardrobe, what would they be? We'll explore that selection in the next part. 3. Choosing the essential pieces. One morning, as I was folding each piece after decluttering my closet, I suddenly realized something strange. I only felt peaceful when my hands touched the things that were truly necessary. A white shirt I had worn for 3 years but still looked new. A pair of tailored trousers that fit every meeting, a soft cardigan as light as breath. Those items didn't excite me, didn't make me feel fashionable, but they made me feel enough. And from that moment, I understood. A capsule wardrobe isn't a way to dress better, it's a way to live lighter. Now comes the most interesting part, choosing. Building a refined wardrobe is like cooking a traditional dish. The ingredients don't need to be many, but they must be chosen with care. The Japanese have a concept called seiri seiton, systematic organization, simplicity without carelessness. Every item in the closet should have a clear reason to exist and should go together like a symphony, not as scattered notes. I started by defining 2 to 3 main colors. For me, they were white, beige, and gray. Neutral, easy to mix, timeless. Then I added 1 or 2 accent tones like navy blue or moss brown, enough to create a highlight while keeping the overall calmness. After that, I chose the most basic items, a few simple cut shirts, some soft cotton tees, and 2 or 3 pairs of trousers, 1 well-fitted pair of jeans, 1 or 2 midi dresses. Every time I picked something up, I asked myself, can this be matched with at least 3 other pieces in my closet? If not, I put it down. That's the minimalist styling rule I learned from a Japanese stylist. If an item can't connect with the rest, it will soon be forgotten. I used to shop when I felt sad, a habit that, honestly, only made me feel worse afterward. A 70% off piece can bring a sense of victory for 5 minutes, but a burden for months later. So I chose a new rule for myself, the rule of 5. Before buying anything new, I think of 5 different ways to style it. If I can't come up with 5, it means I don't really need it. There's something interesting. The fewer clothes I have, the better I dress. It might sound illogical, but a study from the Fashion Institute once showed that with 30 well-chosen pieces, you can create more than 300 different outfits. A year has 365 days, meaning you could go almost an entire year without repeating an outfit, without adding a single new item. It sounds like magic, but it's simply math and mindfulness combined. The Japanese have a concept called kaizen, continuous, gradual improvement. I think it applies perfectly to how we build a wardrobe. You don't have to reach 30 pieces right away. You can start with 10-15 pieces you truly love, then refine over time. The spirit of the capsule wardrobe isn't about numbers, but about intention. You're no longer chasing trends, wasting energy on unnecessary choices, or wearing things that make you feel wrong. And perhaps the biggest change doesn't happen in the closet, but in how you start your mornings. When you open your wardrobe and see every piece waiting for you with a clear purpose, you begin your day with mental clarity. No more, I don't have enough. No more repeating questions like, what should I wear today? Just you. And the choice is already made by a version of yourself who knows you better. If you've made it this far, you're probably starting to feel that lightness. But there's one more step. Equally important. How to arrange your wardrobe so that every time you open it, it feels like a moment of calm. We'll explore that in the next part. 4. Rearranging the closet. The day I finished selecting the essential pieces for my capsule wardrobe, I stood before the half-empty closet, still holding a freshly ironed white shirt in my hand, and asked myself, how could I arrange them so that every time I opened the door, it would feel not only convenient, but calming? I used to think organizing a closet was simply folding neatly and putting things in the right compartments. But the Japanese see it differently. For them, arranging is not only about saving space, but also about creating meaningful emptiness. They call it ma, the space between objects, the stillness that allows the soul to breathe. I began by dividing my closet into 3 levels. The top shelf for items rarely used, party dresses, thick coats, off-season clothes. The middle for what I wear daily, shirts, t-shirts, trousers. The bottom for heavier items like jeans and sweaters. When everything found its rightful place, I felt as if the closet itself whispered thank you for finally being allowed to breathe. Then came the folding. I used to stack clothes in tall piles, but every time I needed something from the bottom, I'd have to flip everything over, and the mess would return. Since I started folding clothes upright, each piece a small rectangle standing neatly in the drawer, it was like discovering a new world. I could see my entire wardrobe at a glance, with nothing forgotten or buried behind. I also tried arranging by color, from light to dark, left to right. A small change, yet its visual effect was surprisingly powerful. Each morning when I opened the closet, it felt like stepping into a quiet room where everything was already in its place. No searching, no thinking, just choosing, gently. I left a small empty space on the right side. Nothing there at all. It might seem wasteful, but that space was the ma I mentioned earlier. A space to breathe, to keep clothes from wrinkling, to let my mind feel light when I looked at it. It wasn't meaningless emptiness, it was intentional space. When arranging accessories, I applied the spirit of omotenashi, thoughtful attention to detail. A small box for jewelry, belts hung by color, handbags nested by size. Not fancy, not luxurious, but clear and easy to reach. I thought of my future self, the one who would open the closet on a rushed morning, and I wanted her to feel cared for. That's how I serve myself every day, through small acts of kindness. I also adopted a simple but effective rule: one in, one out. Every time I want to buy something new, I decide which item it will replace. It sounds strict, but it actually helps me shop more consciously and prevents the closet from quietly expanding again. A study from UCLA found that women living in tidy spaces had cortisol, our stress hormone, levels up to 23% lower than those living in cluttered environments. And I believe that, because just a few days after living with my newly arranged wardrobe, my mind felt tidier too. Not only was my closet in order, but my mornings, my mood, even my sense of aesthetics, all felt reorganized. No one says you have to fold your clothes a certain way or hang them by color, but when you bring awareness to how you treat each item, you're learning how to treat yourself. More gently, a little slower, with more care. And when everything is finally in its place, when your closet is no longer a hiding spot, but a space that inspires you each day, you'll understand why the Japanese don't see tidying as a chore, but as a form of meditation in everyday life. Now, let's pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and imagine if every day you began with a closet that was tidy, organized, complete, but not excessive. How would your life change? I used to think minimalism was harsh, that it meant limiting myself, living in lack. But after applying the capsule wardrobe, I realized minimalism is actually a kind of abundance, in another form. According to a study from Harvard Business Review, people who own a streamlined wardrobe save an average of 45 minutes a week just deciding what to wear. That means nearly 40 extra hours a year, to read a good book, to practice yoga, to enjoy breakfast slowly without watching the clock. It's not just saving time, it's reclaiming time to live. Financially, I spend 60% less on clothes than before. Yet, I feel I dress better, my style is clearer, and most importantly, I no longer feel lacking. Because every piece is chosen carefully, serving a clear purpose, to make life easier, lighter, more organized. My mindset changed too. The Japanese have a concept called Shinrin-yoku, forest bathing. When you walk into a forest and are surrounded by nature, your brain relaxes, your heartbeat slows, your mind becomes clear. For me, my capsule wardrobe is a small forest of clarity. Every time I open it, it feels like bathing in simplicity. I feel calmer, less stressed, and above all, more in control of my life. Interestingly, the fewer choices I have, the more creative I become. It sounds paradoxical, but you know what? When you have fewer clothes, you start discovering more ways to style them. A white shirt can be worn to work, out with friends, or even reversed for a new look. Creativity blooms not because you have more, but because you truly understand what you already have. And of course, I can't forget one of the greatest benefits. You'll never again experience the morning drama of a full closet and nothing to wear. That feeling disappears completely. Instead, you and your wardrobe start to get along. There's a statistic I really love. 89% of people who practice the capsule wardrobe say they feel more confident when they step outside. Not because they're dressed extravagantly, but because they always know what they're wearing and why. And when you feel confident, everything else in life starts to change for the better, from your work to your relationships. And finally, perhaps the greatest thing I've gained isn't found inside the closet, but in a new awareness of how to live. The capsule wardrobe is a perfect metaphor, living with less but deeper, choosing more carefully but feeling freer, cherishing the small things and letting go of what was never truly yours. That is Ikigai. As we mentioned from the very beginning, the reason for being wrapped gently inside a small wardrobe. So, we've just walked together through the entire journey of building a capsule wardrobe, inspired by Japanese minimalism. From the very first steps, like defining your personal style, decluttering what no longer serves you, carefully choosing each essential piece, to arranging your wardrobe so that it's not only tidy, but also inspiring every single day. And finally, the deeper benefits it brings, not just to how you dress, but to the rhythm of your life and the clarity of your mind. Now, I'd love to invite you to pause for a few seconds and ask yourself, where will you begin? Will it be with decluttering that overflowing closet, or with slowing down to truly understand the lifestyle you want to live? Whatever your answer is, please share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read and connect with you. If this video has given you something meaningful to reflect on, don't forget to like and subscribe to support me. And remember to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next video. 8 minimalist habits to make life simpler and more focused. A topic that's light yet deep, and I'm sure you will love it. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this video. Wishing you a day that's simple, full, and peaceful. See you again soon.